Okay, everyone, I'm going to get started over here. This is Evan Wagstaff from the homepage desk. Several of us have gotten some pre-training on what the next-gen user experience is going to be, and I've done a couple of these trainings now, and I just wanted to show you all what the new site is going to look like and how to interact with it and use the new features. So let's go ahead and jump in. I just wanted to show you first that this, for example, is what the Nation page looks like now. If you go there, it's got a lead spot with top news, some headlines down here. So I want to show you what the new Nation page is going to look like. So this is the new NGUX. We're hoping to launch May 6th. We're hoping that date doesn't change. It's been pushed back a few times now, but we're so close to it, I doubt it's going to happen again. By the way, feel free to jump in at any time on the conference line, that little phone button on the left side, and ask me any questions about what I'm talking about. I just want to make sure I'm clear and you understand what I'm going through, because I know this is a little fast and things are very new. So a few things you'll notice here on the new page. We've got these big, bold new headers. Our nav bar is now on the left side, so users can get to it from anywhere. That might be a little glitchy coming through the screen, but you can see it pops out, and it's a very smooth transition. It moves all the content over to the right a little bit. And the nice thing about NextGen is that it's going to be able to resize dynamically to anyone's device width. So you're going to get pretty much the same experience on a tablet, a phone, viewing the desktop site. And I'll show you right here, if I just shrink it down, you can see that nice resizing. The site just knows exactly how to snap to get the best presentation. And this is about tablet view, what you're looking at. At even smaller width, it's going to flip the nav to the top. So the nav is now up here. And everything just organizes itself down below. And something like this would be our phone view. So you can see it pretty much fills as much space as possible with all relevant headlines. We're really emphasizing nice art, and I'll show you later how to make sure the art is the right size for the new site. I'm going to take you now into the story level, so you get a sense of what you're going to be building when you build out a blog post for the day. So this is a story level, and they're using a photo gallery as lead art. So you can see you can actually use the photo gallery in the story. Nice big pictures, high resolution. Something you'll notice here is that we're applying this drop cap styling to the first letter of any story. So regardless of what you do, the first letter is going to be this big drop cap. So you're not going to want to use the date line in the body field anymore. And that's something that we're going to, I'm going to show you where to put it from now on. You can see all of your related items now are in this panel to the right. So to get to related items, you have to click this icon over here. And it'll slide everything over. And you can see now we're looking at related items. And you can slide back to the main article. It's just very nice. We've got a gray styling now instead of the black letters. Our links are now these orange items here. And links will work the exact same way they've always worked. One thing to note is that all HTML will now be stripped from anything you put in the body field. So no more YouTube embeds, no more Twitter embeds. There are certain things that can be added as embedded items, which I'll show you shortly, but no more HTML in the body field just because it'll break and we want everything to resize properly. Also important to note, we're no longer putting anything down here after the last sentence in the article. No more contact, no more alsos. So we're done doing those. Replaced by the advanced byline, which I'm sure you might have heard something about. The advanced byline is this orange link, orange byline up here. And when users click it, they're going to be brought to a page that shows that picture that everyone's been made to take, relevant articles that you've written, Twitter, Facebook, all the ways they can connect with you. So that'll be really handy to have. And just like the section front, everything resizes nicely. One other important thing to note is our topic system, which used to be pretty invisible, now appears right here. You can see the top 7 related topics: politics, nation, firearms, parties and movements, things like that. So we're trying to get people to take a little better care of their topics when their topics are generated. The system is supposed to be smart, and once you start applying topics and taking care of them, it'll know, oh, I'm supposed to be using this topic, not this topic. So it'll pay off in the long run. So this is what the story looks like. I'll take you into the back end to show you what you'll be dealing with when you put your stories into the system. So this is a story from a few days back, sent it to investigate veterans' deaths at Phoenix VA facility. You can see it looks pretty much the same, and all of these changes are live now, so you can take a look at them in P2P. One thing is that we're adding kickers. These are big, bold, gray words that appear before the headline in case we want to call something out. Something like analysis or column 1 for our column 1s, editorial, opinion. Just it doesn't scream too loud, but it's just something that says to the readers, this is a little different. So that's the philosophy behind a kicker. Like I said, we're no longer putting the date line in the body field, like this Washington down here. Let me size that up. We're now going to be putting Washington into the date line field up here. So it would be something like reporting from Washington. And when we go to the actual article, it's going to appear right after the byline. So by Lisa Mascaro, reporting from Washington. The body is pretty much what you're used to, except like I said, it's going to strip out any embeds that you put in. So any YouTube needs to be an embedded video item, for example. And no more contact info at the bottom. So we're going to drop that, and we could start writing that way now. One thing that you might have not noticed before is this Apply Topic Tags button. So after you've written a story and saved it, clicking Apply Topic Tags will populate this list to the right of topics. And like I said, we're trying to really take care of the topics that are on our stories. So these are perfectly good topics: Veterans Affairs, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. It's a story about Veterans Affairs, so that makes a lot of sense. If you see something that should be a topic and it's not on there, something important, let's say the story was about healthcare and healthcare wasn't listed as a topic, you can go down here to the search field and search through all of these pre-existing topics. Healthcare policies, healthcare contract issues, healthcare access. So there's a lot of options. Just click a checkbox and add to add it to the story. And it'll appear here in the topics field. We also are running some collections just off of topics. So we'd like topics to be as smart as they can be. I want to show you a new feature now. It's called Share Lines. And it's in this box will be collapsed on default. So to get it open, you just need to click on the blue and it'll pop open. I'll show you first how it looks on the site. So this is new to NGUX. It's going to appear right below the byline, and you can see it's got this treatment Share Lines. And it's just a little bit it serves two purposes. The first is to give the reader a taste of what the story is going to be about. So for example, I wrote these a little earlier. Thousands of veterans have been reportedly kept waiting for care. And the VA's Inspector General in Washington sent a team to investigate. So they're just like little quick bits about the story that the reader kind of knows what they're getting into. Also, they act as pre-written shares for things like Twitter and Facebook. If you were to push the Twitter button, you can see it's pre-written here for me. And we're trying to get a sense of how readers are going to use this, but we do have a pretty good sense that they do actually engage with these pre-written items, which is interesting. We're going to keep tabs on how people are using it. But we'd like to encourage reporters and bloggers to write at least one. And it can just be kind of a quick summary or like a buried fact about the story that kind of goes up here. And so when you're entering your story into P2P, just open up the share lines box like this. And you can see the character count, just shorter than 110 characters, which is about tweet size. And if you're going to tweet about your story anyway, I would actually suggest using this button. It's kind of convenient. A lot of this is what you're used to. Geocoding, which has been here for a while.
Hey, Evan?
Yes.
This is Molly. Can you go back to the share lines and just give us some examples?
Definitely, yeah, which is why I pre-wrote two of them for this story. So this is a story about veterans. Let's look at them in the front. So it's not exactly a headline repeat. The headline is Senate to investigate veterans' deaths at Phoenix VA facility. So it's a little more detailed. It's maybe something from your nut graph that goes into a share line. So I chose thousands of veterans have reportedly been kept waiting for care, because from the head and from everything else, you get no sense of the scope. So for a share line, I just wanted to kind of add for the reader like how serious this problem is. For overnight stuff that gets read by copy, they're going to be handling your share lines, so you don't have to worry about your normal overnight process. But for a daily blog post, we'd like to try at least one. Does that make sense, or can I answer something else about it?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just thinking you had compared it to a tweet, and sometimes when I tweet, I don't know about other people, but I'll, say something, a little bit more like, check out this interesting story or blah, blah, blah. But this is more like a pull quote.
No, yeah, exactly. It's more like a pull quote. You don't want to like have because Twitter, you're trying to have a certain voice and like interest people that way, whereas this is more like straight story reporting. And I would pull in like even some buried facts. Like if you have some statistics that don't make it into like the 7th graph, maybe pull that up for the top. So geocoding, we're trying to use the geocoding more. It's been in the system, but they've made it quite a bit smarter, and so it should be easier now to geocode. We're launching neighborhoods with the launch of NGUX, so it's going to be especially important if you're reporting anything in LA to geocode properly. So for example, if there was a shooting at LAX, you could geocode just LAX and press enter. And you can see it's taken us to an approximate area in LA, and it'll actually tell you how good it thinks your point is. So it's added this point, and it says the accuracy level is very good. And so it's not necessarily where you are when you're reporting that story, but just places of interest in that story. And I can add more than one. So let's say it was something about a flight from LAX to JFK Airport. So it's now added another point to my map, and it is pretty good.
So another question, this is Molly again. So if
Sure.
I'm here in Houston and I'm writing a story about Lake Louisiana, say, but I'm not there, I just drop pins in Louisiana.
Exactly. It doesn't matter where you're writing from. Unless, of course, it's a story about that place, in which case it would be your dateline and probably a geocoded pin. So everything else, we're currently in the Edit tab up here on top, and I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that because we're going to be breaking off into the Relationships tab in a sec. In the Edit tab, I want to take you over to Relationships. And this is pretty much what you're used to as well, related items. And as you guys know, the top related item is what becomes your lead art. So here, send Bernie Sanders. We can see a picture of Bernie Sanders here. And this, you'll get this nice big art, whether it's a photo, a video, photo gallery, video gallery. What's different now is those related items that used to go after the first one. These three related items used to go down the left rail. They no longer do that. They are now off in this panel I showed you over here, which is a little bit buried. And actually, if you don't touch this at all, it'll pre-generate your related items based on your topics. So we're encouraging people not to add related items. In fact, the work that you would put in these three items, instead, we encourage you to concentrate on embedded items, which are now, these are new items for next gen. They appear inline in the story, and I'll show you what those look like now. You can see this is an embedded item. This is a story. Iraq veterans find the war at home. Find the war at home is with red tape. So that's an embedded story over here. And we've got an embedded full quote over here. This is from Bernie Sanders. So you can see in the back end, here's the story, and here's the full quote. You can see there are two more embedded items here that didn't show up, two photo galleries, and that's because it will only show as many as your story can hold. So since this story is a little shorter, it will only fit these two items. You can't really control exactly where embedded items show up, but you can control what order they show up in. And they also have this option, small, medium, large, or jumbo. The only thing to remember is that for non-visual items, like stories and full quotes, it doesn't really matter what you choose. It's going to show up as a small item. But for bigger items, like photo galleries or photos or videos, it will show up at these large and jumbo sizes. So I'm going to really quickly just rearrange these items to bring the photo galleries to the top to show you what large and jumbo looks like. Okay, so you can see this photo gallery that's now in the story. And large is taking up the full width of the text column here. And you can see below that, this is jumbo. You hardly ever probably want to use jumbo because you can see it just takes up my entire screen. Producers will add a jumbo gallery on something maybe like a column 1 build. But you can see it's a very impressive effect. It pretty much just takes over everything. So we're really encouraging horizontal photos, as we always have. But you can see in the case of this one, for example, and maybe there's no way around it because maybe it's the only photo of this guy we could find. But it does generate those black bars to the left and right, which aren't that appealing to look at. Photos definitely deserve a quick note because in NGUX, before the maximum size of a photo was 600 pixels. That's no longer the case. The maximum size we show now is about 1,400 pixels. So if you've been downloading photos from a media server and cropping them and uploading them, it's really important to make sure you're cropping them at a size that will look good on the new site. But I'm going to show you a quick way in Media Server to download and make sure it's full res and will look great. So I'm going to go to Media Server. I'm logging in. And let's just find another one of Bernie Sanders. And there's this button called Online Deliver, and I'm sure some of you know about this button, but for those that don't, it is a great way to get photos really quickly from Media Server into P2P. So I'm just going to check the box of one of these I like. You can do multiple boxes if you want to send multiple photos over. And I'm going to Online Deliver. So the only thing you have to do here is enter a slug you'll remember for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to write my name and Sanders and submit. And I'll remember Evan Sanders for just a couple seconds. If I go over back to my story, I'm going to do a search with this little magnifying glass over here on the left toolbar. And I'm just going to search for exactly what I typed in, Evan-Sanders. And you can see it's not quite there yet because it's a big photo and it's going to take a little bit to process in the system. But here it is. It just came through. So it's going to have LAT dash and then exactly what I entered and then a Media Server ID. And then I can add that photo by clicking on it. And it's yellow now, so it's selected. And then up here in my Actions bar, I'm going to add to related items from there. And you can see now in my story, that photo has just been added. And it is the highest res photo possible. So that's a great way to make sure that your stories have high res photos on them. One thing that's different now is that if you go into this Edit Photograph button, and I'm going to edit the original because it comes over a little raw. You can see there's no caption here, but I can click Show Metadata to find the photographer's suggested caption. So I'm going to just grab just a bit of this. And turn that live. So I'm setting as a thumbnail. And when you do that from here, you're also making sure the thumbnail is high res, which is really important. So because we uploaded the photo ourselves and we know the photo is high res, the thumbnail will be too. This crop now will determine what the lead art looks like. So that wasn't the case before. Before, it would just show the full photo of whatever you uploaded. So now this crop becomes really important. And this is actually a good way to get rid of those vertical photos. Because if you have a vertical photo and their face looks good, you could just crop into their face. And that's 90% of the time, that's a great photo. And that's what will be lead art when the page loads up. So this crop is really important. Any questions about photo? Because I know that's a little confusing.
Where are you doing the cropping?
So you can get to the full article crop by going to the Edit Photograph button here on the photo item. So I find my top related item that I want to be lead art, hit Edit Photograph, and then here on this screen I can crop my lead photo. That will also be my thumbnail. And I don't want to replace that photo, so I'm going to delete the one we just added. So that is photo, and that's all the complicated stuff over here. Embedded items is completely new. Only things to remember are that visual items will appear large, jumbo, medium, or small. Non-visual will appear small or medium. The one last thing I need to show you is this pull quote item. I'm going to save this right on top so you can take a look at it one more time. And so you can see, here's a pull quote. It's a nice new item we've got, and it has these quotes, it has nice bold text, it has a credit, and it, like the share line, it gives us an option to share this quote. So Twitter, Facebook. The way to make a pull quote, here's the story we're on. We decide, hey, this quote's great, and we would like it to be a pull quote. There's a way to get to content items from a story. And that way is to go into this plus button up here. So we're going to create a new content item. And scroll down and select pull quote. And the thing to do is right-click and open in a new tab. So you keep the story open. So you can see this tab is loaded up over here, and this is our new pull quote item. And it's pretty self-explanatory. We've got a space for a quote and a space for a credit. I've already created this one over here. So here's the quote, and here's the credit. It doesn't need any quote marks. It doesn't need any dashes, just exactly that. And so once you've created that, go ahead and turn it live and save. And then once that's live and saved, you can just grab this slug, copy it, and then go back to the story item that we kept open because we opened a new tab, and add by slug here. And you can see it's giving me the option to add my pull quote. So just click that and it'll add, but I've already added it. So that's all the new complicated stuff. I think that should put you in pretty good shape. I'm sorry, I forgot the advanced byline, which is going to be really important. I showed you in the front end, but I need to show you how to add on the back end. The advanced byline box will bring in that nice link that links to your author page and shows your photo and gives you your contact information. So how to use it, you just click the advanced byline box first and start typing in a name. So I typed in Jason and it gave me two Jasons, so I'll click Jason Wells. And his advanced byline is activated, and I know that because it's surrounded by this blue box. And you can add additional names to that. I'll add the other Jason. And then once you've got that blue box, all you have to do is save, and then it will take effect. So that's a little bit of extra workflow, but it'll bring in all your content, all your social media information, so it's a really good thing to have. Any questions about advanced bylines? Or anything on the edit page? So the new site is coming in just about 2 weeks. My email is evan.wagstaff@latimes.com. Do feel free to email me about any questions you have. My number is 925-330-0646. That's 925-330-0646. I'll be collecting the emails that on the same list I sent out earlier. I'll just shoot to that email list all of the guides that we've written, and there are many, but if you have certain questions about bylines or photos, we've got guides written for that, so you can go over that. But don't be shy. Feel free to give me a call or email anytime. Any last questions before we end the call? All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining, and I'm excited to have everyone work on the new site. All right. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Bye.
Bye.